Good morning. How's everybody doing this morning, man? It's Monday morning again. I am Jeff Williams. This is Real Man Monday. I hope everybody had a wonderful and blessed weekend. I know I had a wonderful weekend visiting family and friends this past weekend, and I hope your weekend was equally as wonderful as mine. I want to talk to you all today, continue the conversation on relationships. I started on last week talking about how relationships are the foundation for how we do life, man. Relationships are how we will do everything. Any and everything that's going on in our lives right now is somehow connected to relationships, whether those relationships were with other people or those relationships are with educational organizations, those relationships are with religious organizations, whether you play sports, really does not matter. Whatever it is you do, you're connected somehow into a relationship with the people, the place, or the things that you are dealing with right now in your life. And so this week, man, in part 2, I want to talk about the importance of choosing wisely in those relationships, because the bottom line is this. If relationships is how we do life, we've heard over and over that the most precious commodity that we have in life is our time. And so if relationships are how we do life, it means that when we spend time in relationships, that's probably going to end up being the most significant amount of time that we spend in our lifetime. We're going to spend more time in our relationships than any other thing that we have going on in life. All of our life is going to be dominated and controlled by the amount of time that we spend in our relationships. We're going to have success or failure based on the amount of time that's spent in relationships. And as people say, time is the only commodity or thing that we have. It's so valuable. It's so precious because time is the only thing that we have that we cannot get back. Right now, as I'm talking to you, the last 2 minutes are already gone. We can never get them back. So we have to spend time in relationships that are productive, because if not, we're going to spend our entire life and we're going to look back and figure out that we wasted a lot of times because we were in relationships with the wrong people. We were attending the wrong university. We were a member of the wrong church. I was a member of the wrong organizations, social organizations. I even sometimes can look back and see that I spent too much time wasted even on the wrong job. And so how do we fix that, man? That's what I want to talk about today. How do we fix that and make sure that we're not wasting our time that we can't get back in non-productive relationships? Well, number one thing that you have to do, man, is you have to set a standard. Set a standard of what's required in a relationship that you're in. And then you only spend time entertaining things within that standard. In other words, if my standard is that I'm going to be a devout Christian, then there's really no need in me spending time in relationships with people who really are not into Christianity. There's really no time in that, because your job is never to try and convert somebody. So they believe in what they believe in, and more than likely, barring some unforeseen circumstance, most people, when you meet them, if they are an adult, whatever their value system is at that point, whatever their belief system is at that point, that's what it's going to be. And so for a job, if we put it in terms of a corporation is setting a standard. They do what's called a standard operating procedure. This is the standard way that we're going to do business. And then everything that we do is based around that particular standard. Who we hire is going to be based on that standard. Who our vendors are, who we're connecting to that we're going to do business with, it's all based on that standard that we have set. And we do that in business, but in our personal relationships, man, oftentimes we have no set value system or system of standards. We have no everyday procedure that we operate by. And that's why many of us, if we look back over our lives at the relationships that we've been in relationships with all different types of people, man. And some of them we knew within a week or two into that relationship that it did not need to be a long-term relationship. But because we didn't really know where we were going and what we were doing, we wasted a lot of time, man, in relationships that we just could not get back. And the reality of it is that we probably missed out. A lot of us have missed out on other relationships that could have been better or more productive for us because we were wasting time spending time in that relationship that was not productive. And so when you're choosing it, you have to choose a relationship with people. It doesn't matter if you're going to school somewhere, whatever it is, you choose relationships based on where you're going, not where you are right now. Because see, where I am right now is not ultimately, if you're somebody who's trying to be successful and do successful things in life, you're not somebody who's still going to be in the same place today that if from 5 years from now, you're not going to be in the same place that you are today. We're constantly evolving. We're constantly growing. We're constantly moving. And so when you have a standard in place, you know where it is that you're going. And so when you come in contact with people, when you come in contact with things, you know, and you measure them by the standard of where it is that I'm trying to go. And if they don't play into that particular plan of action, there's really no need in us prolonging this relationship. So not only do you choose it based on where you're going, not where you are today, but you choose it primarily based on your needs rather than just what you want. Because most of the time what we want is connected to short-term goals. Most of the time what I just want and what I just really, really desire is not connected to long-term progressive goals. Most of the time, that's something that I see right now, and I'm intrigued by what I see, and so I'm willing to connect with it just because I want it, because something about it sparks some interest in me. But when I'm talking about getting into relationships, man, I've got to start evaluating those relationships and seeing if this is a short-term relationship. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with dating or being in short-term relationships. I'm just saying we should know and understand what they are and treat them accordingly. If it's somebody that I know I can't spend my future with, if it's somebody that I know I don't want to have children with, start a family with, then I don't need to be spending every minute of every day with you. Maybe we can go out, grab a bite to eat, go see a movie, do whatever for entertainment, but I cannot be spending every minute of every day with you because ultimately I know you're not a part of my long-term future. So number two, once you have set a standard, then you have to position yourself to maximize opportunities within that chosen standard. The same, we hear people say, opposites attract. And, the same opposites that attract you to someone are the same opposites that will have you leaving them at a later date. Because opposites can attract us, but opposites very often do not keep us together. Most of the time, not every time, but most of the time, we're going to have some common foundational principles and values, some standards that we both live by that have to be in the same ballpark, or we really can't do business together. We really can't be in a long-term relationship together. We can't do a business relationship together. I don't need to go to a university. If I'm someone who says I want to be a doctor, I don't need to enroll in a university that doesn't really have a strong medical program. If I want to be a lawyer, I don't need to enroll in a university that really doesn't have a strong law program. It makes no sense. So you're going to go to a school and spend all of this time doing work somewhere that does not offer the type of degree that you actually need to do what it is that you desire to do in your long-term future goals. And so we got to maximize the opportunities to be somewhere that we can connect with people, connect with organizations that maximize the standard that we have set for ourselves. I want to put myself in position to be around like-minded people, to put myself in the same vicinity as people who are going in the same direction so that we can capitalize on one another's. Now, they may have some strengths that you don't have, some weaknesses that you don't have, but we can mesh that together to create the future that we both desire to have without forcing one another to be someone who we just do not desire to be. All right. So number two, we maximize an opportunity to be in the company of people that are a part of our standard. But number three is you minimize the time spent in relationships that do not meet the set standard that you put for yourself. You got to quickly evaluate, man. You cannot spend 4, 5, 6, 7 years taking time to evaluate if this relationship is going to work. You got to evaluate it up front, man. If someone is offering a job, most employers are going to give you a job description. That's their way of saying, this is the standard that we have set if you want to work here. You've got to take time to read that, to understand that, and to be honest with yourself if you're willing to meet those standards. If you're not, don't accept that opportunity. Find another one that meets the standards that you have. All right. So number 4, you want to make sure that you're in 100% control of how your time is spent and who is spent with, and that you're not under the influence of something or someone else who does not have your same system of values. You cannot leave your future in the hands of other people who don't think like you do. They don't desire the same things that you desire. They don't want to take the time to grow the way that you want to grow. You got to make sure that you're 100% in control in setting your own standard, and that you're living by your own standard, and that you are making sure that no one alters your point of view on that, because you've already mapped out your future and you don't want anybody else to hinder the progress that you're making towards your future. All right. Then number 5, and finally, man, I say the special moments that last a lifetime. Those moments where we marry people, you know, those moments where we get a degree that's going to provide for our families for the rest of our lives. Those long term, the job that we connect with that's got everything that we need. The benefits are right. The pay is right. You know, they care about the well-being of my family. Those moments and opportunities that last a lifetime begin first with only a few minutes in the right place with the right people. So it is important that you choose wisely and choose right when you're forming these relationships, because if you're not careful, you'll be spending time somewhere or with someone who's not a part of your long-term future. And those people that you're meant to spend those special moments that you remember for a lifetime will pass you by, because they'll see that you're occupied spending and wasting your time with something or someone that is of no value, man. So listen, I want to encourage you all to stay tuned tonight, 9 p.m. We're going to have a Facebook Live discussion, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. Facebook Live discussion, a recap of what we talked about today, man. Listen, I hope that this is blessing somebody. I hope that you all are learning from this, man, like I learned when I was going through these things in my own personal life, man. And I just encourage you all to keep following us here on Real Man Monday, man. Thank you all. Y'all be blessed. Y'all have a wonderful day and a wonderful week, man. Take care.